Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, two guys managed not to take any calls in a call center for 3 years before getting caught. If you apply sufficient stupidity, an Ethernet cable fits in a RJ11 plug. But there were 300 calls waiting. I thought it was a good idea. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Two guys managed not to take any calls in a call center for 3 years before getting caught. Two of my colleagues, both long-timers who were angry at the company over a difficult work contract negotiation, decided to have their own little strike by simply not taking calls anymore about 10 years ago, when I was fresh meat there. One of them set up a PBX that would call into either of their work lines at the press of a button with a little script online. Our internet access wasn't monitored and nobody regularly listened to calls for quality control back then. Of course, the PBX calls would be seen as direct inbound calls rather than normal call center calls, but they had a workaround. Having to transfer clients around happened all the time, be it from TV support to internet support or sales. A considerable percentage of all normal calls were transfers. And they knew that because of this, the monitoring systems were treating inter-employees transfers as normal calls for statistical purposes. So they worked at the same times. They'd have the PBX call each of them, and then transferred their fake call to the other so that the system think it's legit. That left them with a suspicious amount of direct inbounds, but since they lasted seconds, it didn't raise flags. They'd wear their headsets but goof around unless a boss was nearby, then they'd fake talking. Every 6 to 10 minutes they'd hang up, sometimes throw in a longer call, couple minutes of wrap-up, then transfer fresh empty calls to each other. The ticket system was much more basic then. It had no way to correctly tie tickets to calls or verify timing, so they'd open random accounts now and then and write very short notes, as vague as possible. Fast forward 3 years before changes to the monitoring and ticket software made their little ruse obvious. There was a witch hunt to know who knew, and why no boss was able to figure it out. It led to stronger controls for everyone. It's highly likely one guy who had been both a manager and a union rep gave them details on the control mechanisms to set up the scheme, but it could never be proven. The pair were fired. One just filed bankruptcy to avoid having to pay back wages for time theft. The other had better friends at the union and wormed his way back after a 6-month suspension, loss of 3 years seniority and 10% pay cut for 10 years, which still left him ahead with 2 years of free pay, somehow. All of Bytewave's tales on TFTS. If you apply sufficient stupidity, an Ethernet cable fits in a RJ11 plug. Before we launched VoIP long ago, there was an happy time where the wires behind the modem were simple. A beige coax, a black electric plug, a gray Ethernet cable we provided. And all was right in the world because few people are too stupid to mess up when you talk about colors. Then we started putting MTAs out there with a risky fourth wire, gray RJ11S. Hi, my name is Bytewave. How may I help you today? Hey Bytewave. I'm Mr. Musclehead and I just moved. Since the cable is already all set up here, I don't think I need a technician. I just need help plugging the modem. Very well, Mr. Musclehead, I can help you with that. As soon as we connect the coaxial cable and the power on the modem, I'll be able to remotely confirm if the RF signal is within range at your new place. What? Do you have 3 wires with your modem, 1 black and 2 grays, and a beige thing that screws on coming out of a wall near where you want your computer or router to be? Yes, I have these things. What's a router? Never mind that. Proceed to screw the beige cable on the only place it fits and plug in the black power wire in modem. Done. Do you see lights on your modem? No. My bad, the black power wire must also be plugged in an electric outlet on the wall. Ha 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 man, you must think I'm a dumbass, right? Okay, done, I have blinking lights. No worries, Mr. Musclehead, I can now remotely see your modem and monitor its signal. Good news, it's all great, you will not need a technician like you said. Now take the big gray wire, connect one end in the only slot it fits and the other one in your computer, both ends will be identical. Yeah, I know how to plug network wires. Mute button, head desk. All done. Alright, the last thing we need to do is take the smaller gray wire and connect it in the last remaining hole in the modem on one end, and in the local loop that will feed your phones. Okay. It's not that much smaller, but it should do. That's weird, I think the connector is broken. On the modem? Well, the cable looks fine, but it won't fit. You need to push down the little pin when you plug it in. Yeah, give me a minute. He puts the phone down. I hear grunting noises and a crack. Hey Bitewave, I think it was the connector on the wire that was bad. Now it ruined the one on the modem, it just didn't fit right, and it kind of punched through. Mr. Musclehead, look at the wire, is there stuff written on it? Because there shouldn't be. Yeah, these little stuff written here. RJ45 something something. Dude, is this the wrong cable? You said gray cable, this is a gray cable. It broke my modem. You guys will pay for the new one, right? But there were 300 calls waiting, I thought it was a good idea. For the last 7-ish years I've worked senior support, where I'm freed from stupid customers and instead have to deal with stupid employees. Most of the subcontractors we have fall squarely into that category. A first example. We have offshore subcontractors based in North Africa, we'll call them Camel Telecom. There's a snowstorm, the front line is very busy, I'm having a coffee when it rings. Senior line, this is Bitewave. Hi Bitewave. I'm Fatima. Hi Fatima, you may assign me your ticket. Ticket? Yes, like always you need to assign me the remedy ticket, so that I may document and if needed escalate the work we'll be doing. Is this your first call to the senior line? Yes, I'm new. Okay, but you did cover our ticket and escalation procedures and training, right? You have remedy open? No. We didn't get to that part yet, and I don't have a login for that, sorry. But my customer's TV has pixels on sports channels I've never seen snow, so I wanted to know if it was the outage. Oh, this is gonna be good. Snow is very pretty Fatima, enough of it will cause some cells to go down, but it won't ever cause compression artifacts. How many weeks of training did you get so far? Just 2. Okay, not your fault then, but you're not supposed to be talking to me and much less to one of our customers. Do you have an integrator nearby? The floor manager is nearby. Okay, I see your floor manager right now should be Omar. Tell Omar I'm calling him on the bat phone, give me your client's phone number, so that I can have a trained technician call him immediately. Please do not take other calls until I've talked to Omar, hang up. I fire off the customer's phone to our recall team, call my boss who's sitting nearby on line 1. You're going to want to listen to this one, just stay on mute. I conference in line 2, call North Africa's bat phone. Omar, right? This is senior line, Bitewave. Hey, we have a situation here. I'm going to need to know why you have a nice young lady who didn't complete even half the mandatory 6 weeks training our contract requires talking to a customer to help him with tools she won't learn about for another 2 weeks. Hey, it's cool, we're just helping out there. There's 300 calls waiting because of your snowstorm outage thing, so it's everybody on deck. Obviously, they're paid by the call, so they love when we have an outage. No agents waiting for a call, and the average call is very short. My muted boss is facepalming something fierce. Me, you're defending a contract breach. I'm not legal, but I really need to know how many Fatimas with less than 6 weeks training are currently manning phones because of the snowstorm, how long they've been doing it, and who made that call. Look, it's just this batch, 13 or 14. They can handle most of these calls, nothing's working, they just have to tell the people it's an outage, they're working fast, you'd probably have 400 calls. Omar, how long, who? He sighs about 2 hours, maybe a little more. Look, I know it's not perfect, but there were 300 calls waiting, I thought it was a good idea. No, Omar, it wasn't. You don't have network analytics, that's my job, okay? There's just 6% of our customers offline. In the last 2 hours, 31% of the calls were about full service disruptions. Fatima was talking to a man with pixels on his TV just on sports channels. Compression artifacts, display motion blur? That's not caused by snow, Omar. She couldn't know that, because she'll learn that next week if she's paying attention. Statistically, the warm bodies you gave headsets to have been telling 69% of their customers about an outage that is not their actual problem, and they failed to document and remedy 100% of their guesswork. Which, by the way, is another contract breach. I bet all 13 or 14 of them know they're not ready, but hey, they just got a good job, they're doing what they're told. Ask them all to tell their customers that they'll be called back within 30 minutes by another agent, email me a list of their current customers' numbers, and take the kids back to class. Then I'll need all their remote console logins to do some damage control as quickly as possible. Okay, I guess, if you don't need the help and if you're sure. We'll do it your way, but this stuff about the contract, this wasn't really a big thing, I mean, just a few agents, we can just move on, right? Wrong department, wrong pay grade. My boss is writing a long email to legal already from the looks of it, but I'm sure it'll all work out for Camel Telecom. Upper management says we need you. Anything else? You know this is a bit hardball, we just wanted to help, I know. But we'll actually be spending a lot of resources fixing your help. Good evening, Omar. Hangs up. Boss, visibly shaken by disbelief. I can't believe this. Don't worry, he won't last the week. Thank you. That was great. The reason I had you listen is because we tell you at every meeting that these guys are. I know you can't do anything about it because they're so cheap, but I need you to believe it was much as we do. Now, outage or not, we need to have people on callback for these customers. I'm going to call systems once I get the console logins of the cannon fodder, have them pull the call entry logs that were routed to these. Tomorrow, we'll need to put together a frontline team to go through every call they took, filter out cells that were actually out, and call back all the people that might have got BS answers, and they won't even have remedy entries, so they'll be calling blind. Boss, you think we really need to do that? That's going to be a lot of outbound work, and will look rather incompetent. Yeah, because we were. If you don't want me to snicker every time you say customer satisfaction in a meeting. Right. Let's do this, he said as he sent notice to legal. Omar was promptly promoted to unemployed, only to be replaced by an equally creative and useless manager. A story for another day. After her growing pains, Fatima became one of the less technically hopeless of their agents and one of the nicest. Camel Telecom is hiring.